I played 1 year in Stardew Valley without buying seeds with gold. So, what are the rules for this challenge? Because there has to be some rules. First, I can't buy any seeds with gold. As long as the item says it's a seed, it counts as something I cannot buy with gold. This includes starts, seed packets, and saplings. I can, however, use other ways of getting seeds, as long as I don't buy them with gold. I can also purchase fully grown crops from the traveling cart. There are 2 seed exceptions. I can buy rare seeds from the traveling cart because as of 1.6, she doesn't sell any sweet gem berries, and I can only buy 1 coffee bean. Neither of these will be used as big money makers, mostly just for game progress, and coffee in the case of the coffee bean. I could get a coffee bean from dust sprites in the mines, but I accidentally bought one and totally spaced it, so give me this one. Rule number 2, if I accidentally buy seeds with gold, I must trash them. I have to throw them away as a penalty. This also means I cannot upgrade my trash can, as I don't want to make any money back from accidentally bought seeds. Rule 3. I will need to make money in other ways early on, so any other money-making methods are allowed, such as animals, fishing, mining, etc. The ultimate goal of this save file is to get perfection, so let's see how close I can get in the first year. And now it's time to take my first steps into Stardew Valley, after leaving my horrible corporate job, which, honestly, cubicle jobs are one of my worst nightmares. And we meet Robin at the bus stop, as always, and from here on out, we're just going to be talking about my progress as we go. As usual with the first day of the game, it is pretty uneventful. I planted the free parsnip seeds I got from Lewis, and then started to clear the farm until I was about to pass out. On day 2, I watered my parsnips, and then I went straight to the beach to get the bamboo pole from Willie. Fishing is going to be a great source of money, so I fished for the rest of day 2. Day 3 was the first rainy day of the year, so I didn't have to water any crops, thankfully. I spent the day fishing and introducing myself to the villagers of Pelican Town. On day 4, I spent the day clearing up the farm, and I ended up leveling up in mining just from clearing out all those rocks, which was pretty nice. On day 5, Marnie showed up at my door, and I got a cute little doggo that I decided to name Millie, and Millie is going to be a good dog, I can tell. I then harvested my first crop of parsnips and leveled up in farming, and instead of the normal thing that you would do, just buying more seeds, I replaced everything with the mixed seeds that I had been grabbing while clearing out my farm. Today, on day 6, all I did was water my crops and clean up my farm some more, but don't worry, the next few days will be more interesting. Day 7 was the day that the mines opened up, and it was a rainy day. So I headed over there almost immediately and got down to floor 5, and then I took my geodes to Clint to open them up and donated whatever I could to the museum to get that going as soon as possible. The next day, on day 8, Clint gave me the furnace recipe because I got my first ores in the mines. I spent my day clearing more of the farm, wandered around a bit, and ended up leveling up to mining level 2. On day 9, I checked the fortune-telling show, and it was a good luck day. So I harvested my crops, planted my seeds, and on the way to the mines, I saw a bunch of seed and artifact spots, so I went back to get my hoe and collect those. Having the smallest backpack was a huge struggle in the mines today, but I made it down to floor 15. I also got a bridal shirt today, which will come in handy when I eventually get married. On day 10, it was once again a rainy day. I learned the stir-fry recipe from the Queen of the Sauce, and when I checked the fortune channel, it was neutral luck. Instead of mining, I went to Cindersap Forest to cut fiber for mixed seeds and found artifacts and forage. I then donated the artifacts to the museum, and got cauliflower and melon seeds, which are very important to this challenge, and I'm glad that the museum donations give me free seeds. On day 11, I replanted my crop field with my newly obtained cauliflower seeds. I also gathered tree seeds from around the farm. Today, the community center opened up, and I got the cutscene with Lewis. I promise, Lewis, there are things in there, and I am not crazy. I looked at the Junimo scroll, having to wait to talk to Rasmodius to learn the language of the Junimo later. Back on the farm, I made a second chest for better organization. I also created basic fertilizer to hopefully get quality crops going as soon as possible. I also went to Clint's to crack open more geodes and donated even more artifacts to Gunther. On day 12, I finally remembered to check the traveling cart, but she didn't have anything useful. At least I was in the right area to go meet Rasmodius and slurp up that forest soup. On day 13, I crafted my first furnace and smelted my first copper bar. I spent the rest of the day clearing out more of the farm. Day 14 is a Sunday, so it was time to check the traveling cart again. I decided to get the rare seed as an exception, as I need it for a star drop. I checked the wiki and confirmed that as of 1.6, you can't buy a fully grown sweet gemberry from the traveling cart, so this is the only way I can get it. She also has cranberries, which will be helpful for later. And as a note, I will have to buy another rare seed, because I don't think I put my sweet gemberry into the seed maker. So, yeah, I need that for shipping as well. On day 15, I harvested my fully grown parsnips and planted my last cauliflower seeds and a couple of spring seeds. Evelyn very kindly sent me a letter explaining seasonal crops and that they'll be changing in the summer. I then spent the rest of the day in the mines. Day 16 was a rainy day, so I spent the whole day in the mines. I made it down to floor 27 before having to run away with my tail between my legs because I was running very low on energy and health. On day 17, I watered my crops, harvested my cauliflowers, and I got a farming level. While I was wandering around the valley, I found the rainbow and pot of gold, as well as the leprechaun hat. I, of course, immediately put the hat on. I donated a couple of items to the museum, and found Robin's axe. I then foraged for the rest of the day, planting the mixed seeds that I found, and I got to level 2 farming and level 2 foraging. Day 18 was another rainy day, but alas, the luck wasn't there. I decided to forage in Cindersap Forest, and got a quest from Robin for a red mushroom. I went into Pierre's to sell some extra forage, and got the cutscene where Morris tries to win over people with 50% off coupons. I feel this has to be illegal somehow. With that extra foraging money, I was able to buy the first backpack upgrade from Pierre, returned Robin's axe, went to Clint's for more geode cracking, and donated 2 more things to the museum, then went right back to Clint to sell the extra items to him. I foraged around to get more mixed seeds and fiber from around town, and spent the rest of the day cleaning up the farm. Day 19 was a neutral luck day, so I did my usual farm chores. Watered my crops, smelted copper into bars, and I got cookies in the mail from my mom. Jody also asked me to get a cauliflower, which shouldn't be too difficult. I went out to forage, and I talked to Linus along the way. I then sold all of my forage to Pierre for some extra cash, and went to the traveling cart to see if she had any good crops. The traveling cart had a pumpkin, but it was unfortunately too expensive, and it was the only crop too, which sucked. So I decided to fish and forage for some more money to hopefully afford the pumpkin. I fished at the beach, meeting up with Elliot. I also fished in the river and donated a sunfish and a sardine to the community center. I sold the extra fish and forage, and ended up not getting the pumpkin. On day 20, I watered my crops, and then went up to the mountain lake to fish. I tried to befriend Linus, but he's still pretty reserved, fair enough. I pulled up a carp, a loudmouth bass, and a bullhead, which I donated to the fish tank bundles. I then shipped my extra fish in a daffodil and went to bed, gaining level 2 fishing overnight. Day 21 was another rainy day, which is always a relief from watering crops. I got the letter in the mail from the Hat Mouse today, and also got the radish salad recipe. I checked the luck, and it was a good luck day as well. I went fishing in the town's river, gaining a fishing level. I also foraged around and donated a shad to the fish tank. I sold my extra fish to Willie and purchased the fiberglass rod, as well as some trout soup. I fished in the ocean and the river, selling any extra fish I had, and overnight I got level 4 fishing. Day 22, 2 cauliflowers were ready today, along with some spring forage. I replanted my field with carrot seeds, a mixed seed, and a spring seed. My rice was also ready to harvest, so I put the unmilled rice into my chest for later. I went to forage, then fished at the mountain lake. I got 5 rice shoots from a dig spot, and donated a nautilus shell and a diamond to the museum. I foraged on the beach and ran into Elliot, chatting with him. He might be my favorite bachelor. I fished in the ocean for a while, then donated a ruby to the museum. In return, I got a painting for my house and put it up. On day 23, I got the letter in the mail telling me about the flower dance, which I probably won't bother with this year. In more important news, I harvested a gold quality cauliflower, which will help me with the community center later. I then went to fish in Cindersap Forest and also foraged around there as well. I gained the foraging level, harvested more rice, and sold it. And I ended the day with level 3 forage. On day 24, I harvested my crops, somehow forgetting about the flower dance even though I just read about it. Oh well. I tried to go to Cindersap Forest, but the flower dance was getting set up. I instead went to the mountains to give my good friend Linus a horseradish and foraged around. I then sold my forage and went to bed. On day 25, it was pretty uneventful. All I did was harvest and water my crops and spent the rest of the day clearing out the farm. On day 26, I harvested a single parsnip and found some summer squash seeds for later. It was once again time to check the traveling cart for any crops I'd need, but alas, there was not anything good, traveling cart lady. I did some more foraging and ordered a coop from Robin to work on the animal bundles. I spent the rest of the day clearing out the farm once again. Day 27 was a rainy day, but also a bad luck day, so no mines for me. I decided to check the trash can for funsies and forage around. I then went to clear any extra branches and stones and cinder sap for all of the materials I could possibly need. Day 28 is the last day of spring, and the last chance for Traveling Cart Lady to give me something good this season, and she was a disappointment thus far. But thankfully, she did. I bought the garlic she had, which is very helpful. On day 29, Robin finished building my coop, and I got her quest completed. I cleared away the dead crocs from spring, planted the starfruit seed, the squash seeds, and the melon seeds I had collected from the museum rewards. I then left to get some chickens from Marnie, but was interrupted by the sewer cutscene with Jazz and Vincent. And, as is tradition, when I really wanted to get chickens, Marnie wasn't at her shop. I went to get some summer forage, and slashed as much fiber as I could to get as many mixed seeds as possible. I then took my summer forage to the community center, saying hi to Maru on the way. I turned in all of the summer forage and got summer seeds. Back to the farm, I planted those right away. On day 30, I watered my crops and bided my time until Marnie's ranch was open. I wanted my chickens, dang it. But, as always, it was Tuesday, and she's not opened them. I really can't wait to get the catalog so I don't have to worry about her schedule anymore. Sad and chickenless, I reorganized my chests. On day 31, it was a rainy day, and Lewis asked for his shorts in the mail. If Marnie didn't have such an annoying schedule, maybe I'd be closer to finishing that quest. No, I'm not bitter. I chalked down some trees, foraged around, and went to the newly opened train tracks and got a haul of fiber, mixed seeds, mixed flower seeds, and summer squash seeds. I went back and planted some of my new seeds, adding more spots to the crop field. And I finally caught Marnie at her counter, but I didn't have enough money. Pain. Agony. On day 32, I talked to Shane on his way to work, and once again had to wait for Marnie to open her shop. And yes, I finally got my chicken. I bought a white chicken for my coop, and I named her Gourd. Day 33 was a rainy day, which means I can do stuff that isn't watering my crops. As usual, I did more foraging around the town, checked the trash cans. Unfortunately, there was nothing good, and I sold that forage to Pierre. I then once again gave all my gold to Marnie for hay, because I almost forgot I needed that. I crafted a chest and a mayo machine for the coop, then prepped to go to the mines. I took my sword, pickaxe, salmon berries, and cookies, and headed to the mines. I left the mines at level 31 and gained a combat level. On my way out, I gave Linus a gift, went home, and sold a cave carrot and spiceberry. On day 34, I checked on my coop and replaced the eaten hay, cleaned up the farm a bit, smelted some copper bars, and called it a short day. On day 35, thankfully it was a rainy day. I harvested my first summer squash and gained a farming level. I also got my first egg from Gourd and turned it into mayo. I then went around the valley getting more squash seeds, forage, around the Martin Lake, and then went back home to hoe more spaces on my crop field, planting some mixed flower seeds. It was another traveling cart day, and she had a blueberry for sale, but I didn't have the money. I then donated a copper and iron bar to the blacksmith's bundle. In a last ploy to get the blueberry from the traveling cart, I sold my 10 copper bars and an iron bar to Clint. But then, I made the tragic mistake of opening geodes. I was left with only 814 gold, which is not enough for the blueberry. I tried to sell my extra gems to Clint, but it was already too late. At least I got level 3 farming. On day 36, after the defeat of yesterday, I harvested and replanted with summer seeds. I got the mayo from the coop and a small egg. On day 37, I harvested my summer squash, got an egg from Gourd and turned it into mayo. I then went foraging and got some more summer squash seeds. On day 38, I got the Green Horde achievement for making 15,000 gold total. It was a rainy day, and I planted a squash seed. I also got my first poppy, which I'm saving for the community center later. Checked on my coop and did the egg mayo swap. I went foraging in Cindersap, then went back to check the Hatmouse's shop. Hatmouse is very cute, and I'll have to come back later for hats. I went to Marnie's and got another chicken named Pineapple and some more hay. I then went to the mines, starting at level 25, for fiber, mixed seeds, and copper to replace the bars I sold. I also got an Omni Geode, some rice shoots, and mixed flower seeds. I went home at 10 p.m., put stuff away, and went to sleep. On day 39, I harvested some flowers and replanted my field with mixed flower seeds. Saving the sunflower for the dye bundle, which is very important for this run. I also sold the Sunwear Spangle and checked on my chickens. Taking a normal quality mayo with me, I went to the luau and placed it in the soup. Thankfully the governor liked the soup, but it wasn't unforgettable. On day 40, more squash were harvested, more mayo was made, and hay replacing started my day. It's another traveling cart day, and she had a rhubarb and an apple for the community center. I then went to forage at the railroad, then going into town to check some trash cans, getting a free field snap, probably still edible. I then went into Lewis's house to check on the prizes he was hoarding. After that, I went to the beach to do some more foraging, and Sam caught me digging in the trash. Twice. I then went back to my farm and saved the items I gathered for the community center in my dedicated chest. On day 41, I was blessed with a rainy day, and I was able to harvest my melons and squash without having to water anything. I replanted my field with summer seeds, and then went to the community center to donate 2 items. A melon for the summer crops bundle, and a mussel for the crab pot bundle. I don't currently have the bulletin board open in the community center yet, so I'll save those donations for later. I then checked on my chickens, and Pineapple laid her first egg, which I turned into mayo. On day 42, once again it rained. I have a feeling tomorrow will continue with that. I harvested my starfruit and placed it in my community center chest. With that, I gained a farming level, then replanted the empty spots with summer seeds. After that, I checked on my chickens, and then headed to the traveling cart. She was selling some hops and deluxe speed grow, so I yoinked those. I got level 4 farming overnight. On day 43, Green Rain Day alert. I repeat, Green Rain Day alert. This is very important for this challenge because of all of the mixed seeds and mixed flower seeds I can grab today. That and fiber and moss is very good to have. However, before harvesting the Green Rains crops, I had to harvest and replant my existing crops, adding quality fertilizer to the empty spots. And then after that, I went to town on the Green Rain foliage, getting all of the sweet fiber seeds, moss, and wood. I also got some fiddlehead ferns as a bonus. And I got level 4 foraging overnight. On day 44, after the very exciting Green Rain Day, the next day was more normal chores. I had another squash harvest, checked the coop, getting all the eggs and replacing the hay. I also got the first large egg for the community center. I then cleared up the farm and went to the mines. I finished a Monster Slayer goal and gained level 4 mining. On day 45, I started today smelting more copper and iron bars, and after that I checked on all my chickens. I went to Clint's to upgrade my pickaxe to copper and had him crack open my geodes. I then donated those items to the museum and said hello to Elliot while I was there. Day 46 was another rainy day, so I harvested my crops, getting some summer squash and a poppy. I replanted the empty space with a mixed seed and put some speed grow on top of it. I checked my coop, making mayo out of all of the eggs, and sold those and the squash, and called it a day. On day 47, my copper pickaxe was ready, so I did my normal farm chores until I could pick it up. Today was also a traveling cart day, so I checked and bought a yam for later once I get a seed maker. I put it in my chest for later. I then went to Clint's to pick up my upgraded pickaxe, and called it a day. On day 48, Demetrius came to my farm today and asked to upgrade my farm cave, and I asked for fruit bats. I harvested my summer forage and squash and replanted my field with the mixed flower seeds and a summer seed and watered everything. I also got the question from Demetrius to give him a melon in the mail. Weird that he couldn't just ask when he was on the farm, but okay. I tended to my coop and called it there, going to bed. On day 49, I watered and harvested my crops and did my usual coop chores. It was another traveling cart day, and she delivered. I bought 3 tomatoes and cranberries. I also got some broccoli seeds from a dig spot. I donated one of the tomatoes I bought, a hot pepper, and a large white egg to the community center. Nothing much happened today on day 50. I did my usual farm chores and started smelting bars for later. Mr. Key was on my screen today on day 51 saying that mystery boxes can now be found. Today was a stormy day, but also a good luck day on top of that. I did my usual farm chores as quickly as I could, knowing I wanted to go mining today. I got the fruit from the new bat cave and prepared for a mines dive, including getting some forage on the way for some extra energy. I went down at floor 35 and made my way down to floor 40 and got the slingshot. I then ate some food to keep going because it wasn't even 6 p.m. yet. I made it to floor 45 and started slaying dust sprites, but because it was 11 p.m. I headed home with my loot, getting 4 geodes, 2 omni geodes, 3 quartz, 15 coal, 36 copper ore, 13 iron ore, a piece of hardwood, 142 pieces of stone, 7 bat wings, a frozen geode, an aquamarine, 3 retaining soil, 5 slime, and 2 sap. On day 52, I started the day off with my usual farm chores. I then gathered donations for the community center, getting more broccoli seeds on the way. I donated a large brown egg to the animal bundle. I also found some mystery boxes around town and had Clint open my geodes and boxes. My haul was a maple bar, 10 deluxe speed grow, a star shard, bixite, copper ore, stone, and nicoite. I donated the star shard to the museum and sold the extras to Clint. I then grabbed stone, wood, quartz, and earth crystals and donated a quartz and an earth crystal to the geologist bundle. I also donated some stone and wood to the construction bundle. I went back and checked my luck for today, and it was a lucky day, so I decided to spend the rest of my day in the mines. Started on floor 45 and got a monster compendium almost immediately. On level 46, after slaying some monsters, I got the pop-up that I leveled up in combat. I made it down to level 50, got the Tundra Boots, and then went home for the night. I got level 3 in combat overnight. On day 53, I crafted a new chest for miscellaneous items and got the hot pepper quest from George for his knee. I also got the ideas to sleep on notification while tending to my farm chores. I began smelting more ore as I knew I would need a lot of bars in the future. I also donated a winter root and crystal fruit to the winter foraging bundle that I got in the mines, as well as a crystal tear to the geologist bundle. I brought a hot pepper to George for his request and then chatted with Evelyn. I then had Clint open a mystery box I found and got some fish stew. After getting back, I organized my chests, chatted with Elliot, and started my copper axe upgrade with Clint. After that, I went fishing in the river and caught 2 pike, a sunfish, and a rainbow trout. I went back to my farm to set up more bars to smelt, and then went back to fishing. I fished in the lake and caught more there. I then went into town and got the cutscene with Linus where he's going through George's trash can. I, of course, told Linus he's not doing anything wrong and no food should go to waste. If it's in the trash, it's fair game. I then went home and got into bed. I leveled up to level 5 farming and chose the rancher profession as it's harder to get crops at the moment. On day 54, it rained, so it was a mines day. I quickly did my usual farm chores, smelted more metal bars before heading to the mines. I started at level 50, making my way down to floor 60, and got the crystal dagger, and immediately hightailed it home because my energy was dangerously low. In my mines haul, I got a couple dwarf scrolls, an omni geode, and a frozen geode. On day 55, my copper axe was ready. I did all my farm chores, then grabbed stuff to donate and geodes to open at Clint's. I got my copper axe and processed the geodes. In those, I got more stuff to donate to the museum, including the dwarf scrolls I got, and a few other minerals, which unlock some rewards. I got the Singing Stone and the Jade Hills painting. Back home, I checked the luck for the day, and it was neutral, so I went back to the mines. Starting on floor 60, I went directly to 61. Floor 62 was a monster floor, and I got a frozen tear and a quartz. On floor 63, a ghost dropped a solar essence. On 64, I got gold ore. Then I made it down to 66, where I was swarmed by enemies and had very low energy, so I went home, put my loot away, and went to bed. Checking my mail on day 56, I got the letter telling me about the Moonlight Jellies Festival coming up. I donated a gold bar to the blacksmith bundle and got a free furnace, then unlocked the bulletin board. This is huge for the challenge because the dye bundle gives you a free seed maker, which is what I have my sights on the most. I then donated a poppy and a fiddlehead fern to the chef's bundle and a sunflower to the dye bundle. I also donated a frozen geode to the researcher's bundle. Back on my farm, I put the furnace down and checked on the coop, then started smelting even more bars. It was also a traveling cart day, so I went down there. She was selling a pomegranate and a truffle. I bought the pomegranate, but passed on the truffle. Going back home, I checked my farm cave and got an apple, a wild plum, and a spiceberry. I then chopped some trees and got a dark shirt from a tree, then deforested the train area. I took advantage of the spa for once, resting there, and continued to get more wood, also replanting a lot of trees as well for later. And then it was finally time for the Moonlight Jellies, which I went to and vibed. I got level 5 foraging overnight, and chose the gatherer profession. On day 57, I cleared the crop field and harvested a few pieces of corn, one of which was gold star quality. I then planted the broccoli seeds, mixed flower seeds, and used speed grow and quality fertilizer. I didn't have enough seeds to fill the full field, so I watered my crops and went to look for more mixed seeds. I cleared more of my farm for resources, and then went over to the community center. There I donated one of the pieces of corn for the fall crops bundle. I cracked open mixture boxes and geodes with Clint, and scored some artichoke seeds. I also ran into Elliot on the way to the beach, fixing the beach bridge with 300 pieces of wood. I got some coral and even found more broccoli seeds and seed spots on the beach. After that, I went digging around the trash and found some broken CDs without getting caught. I planted some of the artichoke seeds and put my resources away. I then remembered that I needed to check on my coop, so I did that and called it a day. On day 58, it rained the second day of the season, so I checked my coop first. I then got my stuff ready for the mines, including getting stuff from my farm cave for energy, as well as getting a couple of hazelnuts on the way. I started my trip on floor 65. Floor 67 was an infested floor with a lot of dust sprites, bats, and slimes. On floor 68, I found some jade and gained a mining level. I got down to floor 75 and kept going down, getting the bone sword on floor 78, and hoeing up cave carrots to keep my energy up. I made it to floor 80, got the firewalker boots, and got the heck out of there because I was almost out of energy. I got level 5 mining overnight and chose miner, and also got level 4 combat. On day 59, I put my stuff away from the previous day's mining excursion, then did my usual farm chores. I got a letter in the mail from Marnie asking to get some amaranth for her cows. After that, I went foraging and got some mushrooms, then went into town. Robin and Lewis were setting up the new community request board, and I told them I was happy to help out. I donated a mushroom and a blackberry to the fall foraging bundle, then went back to check the quest board. I ended up taking the biome balance request from Demetrius, as it was a good reminder to fish more. After that, I went back to foraging to try and complete the fall foraging bundle as soon as possible. I then went home to check on my coop again to sell the mayo I had been processing. On day 60, after doing my normal farm chores, I went to donate an aquamarine to the dye bundle and a pomegranate to the artisan bundle. I then had Clint open my frozen geodes, donating anything I could to the museum. Then I wandered around the valley, cleaning up any debris I could find, getting mixed seeds and fiber along the way. I then went fishing to start on that quest for Demetrius. I caught my first salmon, a bream, and ended the day with a gained fishing level and 11 out of 20 fish caught for the quest. I got level 5 fishing overnight and chose the fisher profession. Day 61 was a rainy day, and I harvested another piece of gold star corn. I tended to my coop and smelted more bars. I started to cut grass to get more hay for the winter, also getting moss and fiber. It was also a traveling cart day, so I went down over there to check out what she was selling, and she had nothing good. How very rude. Defeated, I went home to clear more of the farm for the rest of the day. Nothing much happened on day 62. I cleared more of my farm today and added more seeds to my crop field. I also went to Robin to upgrade my coop. On day 63, I woke up to a huge harvest of artichokes and sunflowers. I replanted and watered my field. Traveling cart lady was back, so I went over to see if she had anything good today. She had a tiger trout in stock, which I bought. Not a crop, but at least it'll save me the trouble for the fish tank bundle. I wandered around foraging, and then remembered it was the last day for the biome balance quest. I went fishing and completed the quest at 4 p.m., taking my prize ticket to Lewis's house to redeem it for 12 broccoli seeds. Not bad. I then went back to my farm to clean it up a bit more, and went to bed. It rained on day 64, and on this rainy day, I got the blueprint for the farm computer from Demetrius for completing his quest. I also got a letter from Linus asking to find his blackberry basket. But, more importantly, my coop was finally upgraded. I harvested my grown-in sunflowers and replanted the spots, then got a cherry from the farm cave. I went foraging to final hazelnut for the community center, only leaving the wild plum left for the fall foraging bundle. While I was at it, I donated the tiger trout to the riverfish bundle. I then went to the beach for more foraging and got clams and a sea urchin, which I immediately donated the sea urchin to the dye bundle. On my way home, I got a wild plum and grabbed some iron bars to upgrade my axe. I also had Clint open a geode and got some granite. I then donated the wild plum to finish the fall foraging bundle and pocketed some fall seeds. Completing that bundle also opened up the vault bundles. After that, I went to the mines starting on floor 15 to hopefully get a lot of mixed seeds and fiber. I also wanted to work on the cave patrol quest that I picked up earlier. On day 65, I woke up to another gold star corn and harvested some broccoli. I crafted some bug steaks and refilled the hay in the coop. I checked the farm cave, getting a wild plum, a spice berry, and a salmon berry. I also picked up some blackberries on the way to the mines. I got a skeletal tail on floor 25 and an omni geode on floor 26. Floor 26 also had a ton of copper nodes. Very nice. I made it down to floor 30 and took a snack break as it was only 4 p.m. I went right back up to floor 25 to slay more bugs. I also took advantage of the cherry bombs I had a lot of to get more ore and stone at once. On floor 27, I got a door scroll 4, then back to 25 again for more grub slaying because I was pretty far from completing the bug slayer quest. I left the mines at 11 p.m. and went to bed. On day 66, my steel axe was ready, so I reorganized my chests and put my mines haul away. I then harvested and replanted my crop field. I went down to Clint's to pick up my axe, but also to open up some mystery boxes and geodes. I got 10 flour mix seeds, 3 coffees, geminite, 10 copper ore, a thunder egg, 3 coal, 2 mudstone, 5 stone, 3 iron ore, a jagoite, nicoite, ornament, and granite. I donated any items I could to the museum and got a couple of rewards: the Dwarfish Translation Guide and pumpkin seeds. I donated the red mushroom to the dye bundle, the hay to the fodder bundle, and the crab to the crab pot bundle. Checking the progress on my quest, I was at 23 of 50 grubs slain of the challenge with 5 days left. I made some basic fertilizer with sap, and made more space in my crop field for those pumpkin seeds and some mixed seeds, putting them down with fertilizer to hopefully get some gold star crops. I reorganized my chest, tended to my coop, and made and sold mayo. I then went to Marnie's ranch and bought a duck, as well as some hay and a heater for the coop. I named my new duck Time. After that, I went blackberry foraging, put the heater in the coop, pet my animals, then went back to the mines for the cave patrol quest I was working on. On the way there, I ran into Sebastian and gave him a coffee. Once again, back to level 25, I drank a coffee for the speed boost, and went back to taking out those grubs. I got an Omni Geode on floor 26, also getting up to 35 of 50 grubs slain. But even more luckily, I got an Ancient Seed on floor 25. I got to floor 27 at midnight, only needing 2 more grubs to slay, but I had to rush home. On day 67, I put my mine haul away and checked on my coop. As it was raining today, I went back to the mines with some geodes and donations in my pockets to take with me once the shops opened. The main goal was to complete the cave patrol quest and get those last 2 grubs. I also, of course, slay any monsters on my way to get those monster slayer goals worked on. On floor 27, I completed the quest and got the 6,000 gold reward, and Clint's was now open, so I headed over there. I first put anything away in my chest that I didn't need at Clint's and went over there, getting my prize ticket and a free peach sapling from the prize machine. I then had Clint open the geodes and got some copper ore, coal, clay, and petrified slime. I donated the petrified slime and the ancient seed artifact to the museum and got a plantable ancient seed as well as the recipe to turn more artifact seeds into plantable ones. On my way home I foraged a bit, then put the ancient seed into my chest as it's too late in fall to plant it for any ancient seed to grow. I sold some extra mushrooms and got the second batch of mayo of the day. I then went to bed early. On day 68, I got the Geode Crusher recipe from Glint in the mail and watered my crops. After tending to my coop, it was time once again to see if the traveling cart had anything good for me. There weren't any crops I needed, and as tempting as the caviar was, I passed on it. Back at the farm, I cleared some grass to put more hay into my silo, and then I grabbed my tools to clear the farm of larger debris like logs and stumps for hardwood. After that, realizing I could now get to the secret woods, I cleared that log and went in for even more hardwood. I also gained a foraging level, and did my best to slay a slime with no weapon, which I thankfully did. I then went to Marnie's and bought a second duck named Lilac. I needed that duck feather for the dye bundle, and having more than one duck will help. I then went to the community center to donate the hardwood to the construction bundle, and completed it. I went home and put my new charcoal kiln next to my furnaces and sold my extra forage. I then continued to get hardwood from the stumps on my farm and cleared out a lot of excess trees. I added 5 more spaces to my crop field with mixed seeds and turned in for the night. I got level 6 foraging overnight. On day 69, while I harvested and tended to my crops, I had ideas to sleep on. I got my 5th gold star corn and immediately took them to the community center, 1 gold star crop finished out of 4. I then went back to the farm, smelting more bars, and checked on my coop. I took some wood and stone to Robbins to start construction on a barn. After that, I worked on clearing more of my farm of trees and rocks. I went back to my coop to get my mayo, smelted even more bars, and went to bed. I got level 6 farming overnight. On day 70, it was a rainy day, so I pet my dog and got to work on my crop field. While I harvested and replanted my crops, I made sure to put fertilizer in any places that didn't already have it. It's also a Sunday, which means it's time to check the traveling cart once again. She didn't have much, but I bought some pine tar for the community center and went back into the secret woods. After that, I donated the pine tar to the exotic foraging bundle, went home, and went to bed. On day 71, I got a letter in the mail telling me about the Stardew Valley Fair, which I wasn't going to do this year. I barely had any good crops or anything to show off, so I'm gonna skip it. Time was now a fully grown duck and laid her first egg. I immediately took that duck egg to the community center to donate to the animal bundle. I also picked up the cleanup quest for Linus and started fishing in my farm pond for trash. I completed it day 1, put the trash in the dumpster by the railroad, and went to bed. On day 72, I got the fiber seeds recipe in the mail from Linus, which will definitely come in handy later. I did my normal chores, and the fair started, but I once again decided to skip it. Without anything else to do today, I went to bed early. Day 73 was a rainy day, which was good news for my watering can. I harvested my first eggplant, which I then took to donate to the fall crops bundle. Both of my ducks are now fully grown, so I can start getting more mayo profits, and I sold one of the duck eggs for the shipping collection. Also, now that my barn is built, I went to Marnie's to get my first cow named Cedar, and a second cow named Fur. I also bought a second heater for the barn, as well as a milk pail. I crafted a chest for the barn, and placed that and the heater into it, and pet my new cows. After that, I decided to call it a day. On day 74, I started off the day with my regular farm chores, getting my first duck mayo from my coop, and selling it. I crafted 3 more mayo machines and put them in the coop to keep up with the egg production. I also made 2 cheese presses for the barn in preparation for my cows getting old enough to be milked. I then went into town to pick up my prize ticket for completing the community cleanup quest, and turned it in for 10 mix seeds. After that, I went to bed. On day 75, Caroline sent me a letter requesting a pumpkin for a jack-o'-lantern she wants to make with Abby. I might consider this, maybe. It's also a Friday, which means it's time to check the traveling cart. Red cabbage alert. I repeat, red cabbage alert. Let's go. I also got a sandfish and quality fertilizer. I went straight to the community center to drop off my 2 new donations. Now all I need is the duck feather for the dye bundle, and I'll get the seed maker. I then grabbed my axe, some iron bars, and a yam from my farm. I donated the yam to the fall crops bundle, and now only the pumpkin is left. I then went to Clint's to upgrade my axe, realizing I then spent most of my money at the traveling cart, and I couldn't afford the upgrade. Rip in peace. After that, I gave up and went to sleep. Day 76 was luckily rainy, so my farm chores took less time. I made sure to pet my animals, but especially my ducks, to hopefully get the duck feathers sooner than later. I didn't have much else to do today, so I called it an early night. On day 77, I had a lot of crops to harvest today, and I replanted all the empty spots with mixed seeds. I checked on my animals and pet all of them. It was another traveling cart day, but today was a disappointment. I didn't buy anything and went to bed early. Day 78 was a very exciting day because I had my first pumpkin harvest and another 2 eggplants. I replaced the empty spaces with mixed seeds, but also put down quality fertilizer. I donated one of the pumpkins to the fall crops bundle to complete it and got a free bee house. I took Robin's quest to get hardwood while in town and put the bee house down near my crop field. My cows are now adults, so I milked them and made one of the small milks into cheese and sold the other for the shipping collection. I then checked the coop and turned the eggs into mayo. After that, I got started on the quest for Robin by clearing more of my farm of logs and stumps to get hardwood. I ended the day with 50 hardwood collected. Today was a rainy day and a lot of pumpkins were ready for harvest. I sold 3 gold star pumpkins and gained a farming level. I replanted the field with fall seeds. I sold the silver star pumpkins, kept the regular quality ones to turn into seeds, and kept the gold star ones for the quality crops bundle. I checked on my coop, sadly no duck feathers yet. After that, I checked on my cows, getting milk and turning it into cheese. I then donated the cheese to the artisan bundle, only needing 3 items left to donate. Next I went to Cindersap Forest to do some foraging, and went into the secret woods for more hardwood for Robin's quest. I then foraged some more around town, finding some stumps to cut down for more hardwood. I also found the hidden prize ticket and some fiber. After that, I was at 66 out of the 80 hardwood collected, with 6 days left in the quest. I turned in the prize ticket for 3 mystery boxes. I sold any extra forage and went to bed, gaining level 7 farming and level 7 foraging overnight. On day 80, I did my usual farm chores, and still no luck with the duck feather yet. After that, I went to continue my hardwood gathering efforts, also clearing out more of the farm. I got to 80 hardwood after clearing out the secret woods of its daily stumps. And now that I had enough gold again, I turned in my pickaxe to Clint to upgrade it to steel. I then turned in the hardwood to Robin for the quest, went to the railroad and got an artifact, and got the cleanup quest cutscene with Linus. I got a pomegranate and a bunch of stuff there from the farm cave. On day 81, it was a rainy day and a good luck day. I harvested all of my crops and replanted the field with fall seeds. I checked on my animals and processed their goods and went to bed early instead of capitalizing on the good luck for some reason. On day 82, Clint finished my steel pickaxe today, so I did all my regular farm chores while I waited for his shop to open. I got my first fairy rose and my first honey from the bee house. I checked on my animals as usual, no duck feather yet. I then donated the honey to the artisan bundle, sold my cheese and mayo to Pierre for some extra cash for the traveling cart. She had some pretty good stuff today, so I bought some maple syrup, wine, an apricot, a miner's treat, and a bomb. After that, I went to the community center to donate my newly bought items, starting with the apricot to the artisan bundle, the wine and pomegranate to the enchanter's bundle, and the maple syrup to the exotic foraging bundle. I put the miner's treat and bomb into my chest and went to bed. On day 83, I started the day out by crafting some preserve jars to start processing any extra crops I have for more profits. I also started smelting quartz into refined quartz for crafting later. I also made sure to pet all of my animals for peak happiness. I got my first large cow milks from my cows, making one into cheese and saving the second for the animal bundle. I forgot that it was the Spirits Eve festival today, so I couldn't donate the milk to the community center. I went to bed early because I didn't want to do the festival this year. On day 84, I closed the doors on my barn and coop to keep my animals warm in winter early because it was raining and they were inside anyway. I refilled my silo with hay to make sure I'd have enough for the winter. I then tended to my animals with still no luck for a duck feather. I started smelting more copper bars, then gathering some donations and mystery boxes to open, also getting any fruit from my farm cave. I picked up my prize ticket and got a star drop tea. I also got my steel pickaxe from Clint, then opening my mystery boxes, getting deluxe speed grow, 10 mixed flower seeds, and a farm warp totem. I also donated the fossilized skull I got to Gunther, as well as donating the large milk to the animal bundle. Oh, and of course we gotta check the traveling cart. She had the goods today, including a radish and a bok choy. And while I was at it, I bought the snowman rarecrow. I put the dude on the other end of my crop field when I returned home. I then got the other processed animal products and sold them, calling it a day. On day 85, the first of winter, I cleared the crop field of any dead crops, crafted a sprinkler, and hoed 4 spots for crops, planting my 2 powder melon seeds. I got myself ready for a mines run, checking on my animals first. I went down to floor 80, bombing floor 81 for materials, and drank a Joja Cola for some speed. I got my first magma geode, some void essence, and a fire quartz. My health was doing really badly on floor 83. Let's hope this Joja Cola will prevent my death. Floor 84 had a lot of resources and minerals, and I gained a mining level. However, like Icarus, I flew too close to the sun, and a slime knocked me out. Maru saved me, but I lost my copper ore and 800 gold. I walked home with almost no energy and health, put my stuff away, and went to bed. I gained level 6 mining overnight. On day 86, Robin sent me the wood chipper recipe, and I got a request for a squid. I gathered all my donations, geodes, and mystery boxes, and headed to Clint's. I got the shadowy creature cutscene on the way. I noticed there were a lot of dig spots, so I went back to my farm to get my hoe and check on my animals. One dig spot gave me the ancient doll, and another a winter root. I also got a prehistoric tool and more winter forage. Now at the community center, I donated the bat wings and a void essence to the adventurers bundle, and the fire quartz to the geologist bundle, and completed the mine carts. I also donated a crocus to the winter forage bundle and jelly to the artisan bundle, also finishing off that bundle and getting a keg, 5 omni geodes, and a small magnet ring. After that, I went to check on the special board requests and took the juicy bug guts quest. Finally, I went to the Clint's to open geodes, mostly getting stone, copper ore, and also a hematite. I donated the ancient doll and prehistoric tool to the museum and got the treasure trove achievement. I placed my new keg, got my processed animal goods, reorganized my chests, sold extra items, and placed down my totem rarecrow. I cleared more of my farm by cutting down trees, smelted some gold bars, and went to bed. The Junimos fixed the minecarts overnight. On day 87, I smelted more bars, checked on my animals, and finally got a duck feather. On my way to the community center to donate that duck feather, I found a lost book. I donated the duck feather to the dye bundle, and finally got a seed maker. Now I don't need to rely on mixed seeds, and I can process all the crops I bought from the traveling cart back into seeds. I quickly got to work turning all the crops I collected into seeds, while also smelting more metal bars. While waiting for crops to turn into seeds, I also checked on my cows and did other tasks like clearing more of my farm. I went to Robin's and got the cutscene for the 4-post bed, and of course sided with Robin, saying the aesthetics were perfect. I then ordered the first barn upgrade so I can get goats. I spent the rest of the day making seeds, including turning a winter root into winter seeds, planting 2 of those into the empty sprinkler spots. I then went to bed feeling very accomplished. On day 88, I finished making all of my saved crops into seeds. I had to restart the day once because my only starfruit turned into mixed seeds, and I can't have that. After that, I checked on my animals and went straight to the mines. Back to level 81 I went, hoping to get further this time. 82 was a mushroom floor and had a lot of fiber, which was great for mixed seeds too. I got to level 85 and got a Yeti Tooth, which is a much better weapon than my bone sword. I left the mines and went home, putting my haul into my chests. I sold the mushrooms and cave carrots and went to bed. On day 89 it's a Friday, which means it's a traveling cart day. I checked on my animals and my big barn was finished. I accepted a quest from Clint for gold ore and realized I chose the juicy bug guts quest with only 3 days left. Whoops. I went to Pierre's and sold my mayo and cheese, then went to Myronese to buy a goat I named Oak. I also got some powder melon seeds from a seed spot on the way to the traveling cart. She had a spicy eel and I bought it, and that'll be very helpful for the bug guts quest. I then went home to check on my new goat and sell the extra cheese. I then went to the mines at floor 85. The Yeti Tooth was doing way more damage and I gained a combat level. On 87, I also got the 6 gold ore for Clint's quest. I made it down to floor 90 and got the obsidian edge, and then went home for the night. I went home the regular way, still not remembering that the minecarts work yet. I got to level 5 combat and chose the fighter profession. On day 90, Clint sent me a letter asking me to get an amethyst for Emily, which I might get to later, maybe. I then finally remembered that I had the minecarts unlocked and took them to Clint's before his shop was open, then back to take care of my animals until the shop's opened. I went to the community center and turned in a snow yam, finishing the winter foraging bundle and getting some winter seeds. I then went back to Clint's and finished his ore quest, getting 270 gold, and put my hoe in for a copper upgrade. After that, I had Clint open 2 magma geodes, getting a dwarf gadget and a new mineral, which I immediately donated to the museum. I took the minecart to the bus stop and went home, putting my stuff away. I then smelted the gold ore into bars. Getting more stuff for my chest to donate, I took them to the community center to donate a red and purple mushroom to the exotic foraging bundle, unlocking the quarry. I have no idea why it took me that long to donate the mushrooms, as I had them laying around for ages. I also took care of a couple of the vault bundles, getting some chocolate cake and quality fertilizer. I checked the farm cave and got an orange as well as some berries. I put the orange in the keg and the berries in the preserves jars. I got my animal products to sell for some gold and scythed some grass for hay. I then went to bed for the night, the Junimos fixing the quarry bridge overnight. On day 91, Pierre came to my house and with the audacity to tell me he's getting new seeds next year. Buddy, don't you know I'm the weird farmer that doesn't buy seeds? I went back to smelting gold bars and checked on my animals. I then checked the traveling cart and bought a sprinkler and a coffee bean, which is one of my exceptions from the rules. I went to bed after that. On day 92, my powder melons were ready for harvest, so I replanted them and got my gold bars. I sold the melons because I know I can get more seeds easily. I smelted more bars and checked on my animals. Oak is still a baby, so I had to wait for that goat's milk. I then went back to sleep. On day 93, my copper hoe was ready, and so was my jelly. As usual, I smelted more bars and checked on my animals. I then made my ways to Clint so I could pick up the hoe and replace it with my watering can for its copper upgrade. I took the minecarts home and got some powder melon seeds and a winter root on the way. I then placed my second sprinkler and planted the melon seeds and winter seeds. I did my other usual chores and went to bed. On day 94, I harvested a crystal fruit and replanted a winter seed. Then it was time to check on my animals, and Oak was now fully grown so I could get my first goat's milk. I also checked on my farm cave and got a pomegranate, and then went right to bed. On day 95, my copper watering can was ready. I harvested a fully grown winter root and popped it into the seed maker to make more winter seeds. Before I headed to Clint's, I put some iron bars into my backpack and checked on my animals. When his shop was opened, I got my copper watering can and replaced it with my hoe to give that a steel upgrade. After that, I got ready for a mines run, walking all the way there even though I just used the mine carts. I have no idea how that happened. I went down to floor 91, trying to get down as far as I can. I got the dark boots and equipped them. I made it to floor 95, still going further. It was 11:30 p.m. when I made it down to floor 97, but I had the minecart so I can be slightly more dangerous with the time, and left the mines at 12:10 a.m. I got home and went to bed. On the morning of day 96, I put away my mines haul and got a request from the wizard to get some void essence. I checked my animals, grabbed the void essence, and gave it to the wizard for 1,000 gold, and also gave him a mushroom as a gift. Then I went to check the traveling cart, but alas, nothing good this time. Once I got home, I checked the luck, and it was a bad luck day, so I decided to get back to my farm and work on clearing it out more. While doing that, I got a mystery box, so I gathered my geodes as well and went to Clint's to get them cracked open. Got a lot of goodies, including a single gold ore, 5 iron ore, a farm totem, 10 mixed flower seeds, and crab cakes. I ate the crab cakes, organized my chest, got my animal products, sold them, and went back to tree chopping. After I was done, I put my stuff into my chest and went to bed. On day 97, I woke up to the notification telling me that my steel hoe was ready. I got my second duck feather while tending to my coop, my orange wine was ready, and I sold both for the shipping collection. I then got my unopened mystery boxes, checked the daily luck, it was bad, and started cleaning my farm of big boulders until Clint's was open. I got my steel hoe from Clint, but then had to turn around to get my bars to upgrade my watering can to steel. Back at Clint's, I put my watering can for an upgrade and had him open my 2 mystery boxes, getting fish stew and shrimp cocktail. I feel like Clint can tell that I'm an Elliot guy. Back at home, I smelted more bars, turned a winter root into more seeds, and put away my fishy food. I continued my regular routine of cleaning up my farm and checking on my animals. While I was at it, I checked my farm cave and found a ton of fruit for the community center. I took my 3 apples to the community center and donated them to the fodder bundle. On my way back, I got Jack Be Nimble, Jack Be Thick, which upped my defense. I then foraged around for a bit and called it a night. Not much happened today on day 98. I got pink cake in the mail, did my usual chores, and then I went to check the traveling cart. Unfortunately, there wasn't anything good. I went foraging around Cindersap Forest, getting an ancient sword artifact. After that, I did my usual animal and farm clearing routine. On day 99, my steel watering can was ready, along with some jelly and a couple powder melons. I did my usual chores, including getting more hay for the silo. After spending my time before the night market cleaning up the farm, I headed over there. On my way there, I chose the Slaying Ghost quest for Rasmodius. I got my free coffee, then headed straight to the traveling cart. She had a starfruit, which I bought immediately, but the rest of her stock were seeds, so I can't get those. I gave a gift to Abigail, which completed the Give a Gift quest. I checked the other night market merchant, but didn't get anything there. After that, it was time to head home and sleep. On day 100, I started my day by putting away my stuff from yesterday and chucked the starfruit into the seed maker, getting very lucky and getting 3 seeds. I filled up my preserves jars with any extra fruit, checked my coop, and sold the mayo inside. I then checked my barn and farm cave, selling the cheese and saving a blackberry for later. I did more normal chores, but started smelting quartz, which I'll need later for quality sprinklers. While waiting for that, I went to Robin's and got a workbench, which will make my life so much easier coming up. I then went around looking for more powder melon seeds, and once I got what I wanted, I returned home and poorly attempted to rearrange my chests with the workbench. I think I was playing really late at night, and I was super tired. After that disaster, I went to the night market once again, scoring some kale and a radish. I went back home, putting my crop purchases away. I then made a couple of new chests and put that around my workbench and reorganized my stuff. Finally satisfied with my work with that, I went to bed. When I got up today on day 101, Marnie told me I could get a license for another pet in the mail. I harvested my forage and powder melons and leveled up in farming, then sold all of my crops and replanted my field. After that, I put my kale and radish into the seed maker. I checked on my animals, then went foraging around the bus stop, and took an iron bar to Clint for his request and got 500 gold. After that, I went to the quarry to gather some materials. Once I cleared out the quarry, I went down to the night market, giving my man Elliot some coffee on the way. As usual, I checked the traveling cart and got a nice haul of an eggplant, tomatoes, and garlic. I went home immediately and put my stuff away, putting the crops I just got into the seed maker. I moved my fertilizers and fully grown crops into a second chest to save room for the seeds. I also made another cheese press for the barn and plopped it in there. Rounding out my crafting today, I also made quality sprinklers and set 2 of them up with winter seeds. I got level 8 farming and level 7 mining overnight. As soon as I got up on day 102, I grabbed my iron bars for my furnaces, got a crystal fruit for my crop field, and replanted a winter seed. I then rummaged through my chests and grabbed anything I hadn't donated to the museum, checked on my animals, and I got my first large goat milk. I went straight to the community center to turn in that large goat milk, and I finished the animal bundle. I wandered around the town and foraged while waiting for the shops to open. Once they were open, I donated the ancient sword to the museum and collected my reward of the skeleton statue. Back at my farm, I made more space for crops with my new sprinklers. I then finally remembered that my steel watering can was ready, so I went back to town to pick it up at Clint's. I then put my scarecrows back up and watered my new and improved crop field. I also set up an area with my bee house for future flowers. I ran out of winter seeds to plant, so I turned a winter root I found into 2 more seeds. I smelted more copper bars and sold my extra forage. While I was doing my regular farm clearing, I found a couple dig slots with a chicken statue and 2 mystery boxes. On day 103, my jelly was ready, so I shoved those into the shipping bin. While checking on my animals, I got another duck feather. A certain long-haired man will probably get that later. I checked the farm cave and only got a single blackberry. After that disappointment, I decided to go forage around in Cindersap Forest, getting more powder melon seeds and other forage. I then went to Marnie's and got another cow named Sequoia. Today was another traveling cart day, but she seems to have run out of good stuff after the night market. I went back to my farm to say hello to my new cow, and then collected the cheese and mayo for my coop as well. After that, I went back to my crafty ways, making some wooden paths and some mushroom logs, getting the DIY achievement. I took those items and started my tree farm up in the top left corner by Grandpa's shrine. Something crashed on my farm overnight. On day 104, the spirits were neutral, so I went to do my usual farm chores. My cherry wine was ready, so I shipped that and filled the keg with a wild plum. After that, I went to the train tracks to forage, getting more powdermelon seeds, then going to the quarry for more materials. I then took the minecarts to the bus stop, foraging on my way home. I planted more seeds to fill my field, put the materials I gathered away, and made more winter roots into seeds. I went to sleep and got level 8 foraging. On day 105, I woke up to Robin in my mailbox asking for 10 hardwood, which I can do no problem. I dug out some carrot seeds from a seed spot, meaning the year is almost over. It's also another traveling cart day, but once again, disappointing. I then went foraging and went to the secret woods to work on that hardwood quest for Robin. I got the 10 hardwood as well as a mahogany seed. I went over to give Robin the hardwood, getting my 500 gold reward. After that, I went to the railroad to plant my mahogany seeds for future hardwood. I then smelted some copper bars and went to bed. On day 106, the stray powder melon that was the only one that needed my normal sprinkler was finally ready for harvest, so I yoinked that and removed the sprinkler. At this point going forward, and to the next videos in the series, I'm going to cut out any time I check on my animals, smelt bars, or any other regular chores, unless something unusual happens. I gathered the chicken statue and 2 mystery boxes to open to Clint's, getting 20 quality fertilizer, 10 mixed seeds, and 10 deluxe speed grow. I then donated the chicken statue to the museum, getting my own chicken statue, which I put right next to my coop. I put away my new mixed seeds and marveled at all the seeds I've gathered thus far. After that, I went back into town and took the fragments of the past quest. I got the rusty spoon from an artifact spot, so I went back to donate that. And guess what? I got yet another artifact spot with the prehistoric rib, so I had to haul my butt back to the museum again. And while I was there, I said hello to Elliot. Then I went to Robin's to move my buildings around, moving my coop and barn below my new tree farm. I also built a shed next to the farmhouse. On day 107, I started my day by crafting some stone fencing so I can keep my animals in one place in their new area. I started making some common mushrooms I've been getting from my mushroom logs into fall seeds. Got some stuff from the farm cave as well. I also checked the note on Grandpa's shrine, hoping he'll be proud of me. While checking my coop, I got a gold star duck feather, putting it into my love's gifts chest, then going back to bed. On day 108, I got a letter in the mail from Lewis reminding me that Alex is my person for the Feast of the Winter Star. With all the mushroom logs I made, I'd been stacking up on mushrooms, so I started turning the common ones into fall seeds, and I replanted my field with winter seeds. My shed was ready today, so I prepared to move the stuff in there. I placed my workbench towards the top middle, put my furnaces and charcoal kilns by the door. I crafted a new chest for gifts, put all my loose farm machines into the shed, minus my keg that was still making wine. I also made a chest for my house as a temporary dresser, and went to bed. On day 109, I harvested my crops and sold everything except the winter roots, which I'll once again return to the seed maker. While I was doing my usual animal chores, I saw that my newest cow was now an adult. Then it was the Feast of the Winter Star, so I looked through my chest for anything I could give to Alex, taking my Star Drop tea along. I found Alex and gave him the tea. My gift giver was Haley, and she gave me a pumpkin pie. Not too bad of a gift, and pumpkin pie is unironically my favorite pie in real life. After that lovely festival, I went home and made as many winter seeds as I could before I went to bed. Now that it's day 110, there's only 2 more days left of the year, and it felt like it flew by. I got a letter from Gus asking for an albacore this morning. I am not sure when I'll get that done. I checked the look for today, and it didn't look good. Today was a traveling cart day, but once again, the post-night market traveling cart disappoints. Oh well, at least I got some good forage, and some more carrot seeds for next year. And, against my better judgment, I went to the mines on a bad luck day. I started off on level 95, making my way down to 96, where I got a mushroom floor. 97 wasn't as helpful, as it was infested with slimes. 98 was a regular floor, and thankfully, those purple mushrooms I got earlier came in handy. I gained a combat level, getting down to floor 99, which was the dreaded spiral floor. Joke's on that floor because it was only 4:20 p.m., so I had plenty of time. I made it down to floor 100 and got my star drop, but I decided to keep going down as it was still pretty early in the day. My backpack was very full during this, but I was juggling what I really needed pretty well. It was almost 11 p.m. when I got down to floor 104, but I wasn't going to give up that easily, still trying to get a ladder. I gave up at 12:20 a.m. and left the mines, heading home. I got level 6 combat overnight. On day 111, after last night's mine adventure, I put all my stuff away in chests and sold my red mushrooms. I also collected and sold my plum wine, harvested what grew in, and accidentally put a winter root into a preserves jar while making winter seeds. I wanted to make sure my crop field wouldn't decay in the spring, so I put all those winter seeds down. I then put my extra powder melons into preserves jars for some jelly money later. After that, I put my extra fruit and berries into a chest in the shed to process later. I then did my usual run around the farm and went to bed. Now here we are on the last day of the year on day 112. Honestly, I made more progress in the first year than I had originally expected. We have a ton of seeds for next year, lots of community center progress done, and a whole lot more to do for perfection. My last day of the year was spent checking on my animals, selling their products, and that's about it. I hope you enjoyed this first year of the challenge. I do have an entire second year recorded, so like the video if you want to see that in the future. I had a lot of fun with this challenge, and I hope to do more Stardew videos in the future as well. Year 2 gets pretty wild, so I hope you look forward to that when the video eventually comes out. Oh yeah! If you watched this far, I would love it if you would subscribe. I have a lot of stuff in the works. If you like Stardew Valley and Animal Crossing, this channel is for you. Also, leave your favorite crop in the comments. Mine is definitely a tie between ancient fruit for the color and profits, and sunflowers just because I love them. Alright, thank you so much for watching. Have a good one. Bye-bye.